his game. Maybe we will, but we'll see how it goes. Next match that we'll be casting is Twoebiers versus Hachiman. We have no break, so we can just talk it through till we get to the games. And Noxious, what's up with you?
Not much, man. I've been playing League of Explorers quite a bit. One of the things to think about when you play with the new cards, I think, is what's going to be the end result of the entire expansion, because I try to make decks based on what we have released. But then I look at all the cards that are coming down the line. You know, any fin can happen, every fin can happen. For instance, the new Murlocs look to me like they could make a splash. And even though you don't think about it right now because it's not relevant, like, just give it 2 weeks and a new metagame will come out. And then another metagame will come out. And it will just keep happening all the time. And I'm not sure where the metagame will settle, because even what looks good now may just turn out to be mediocre once everything's kind of figured out.
Yep, that's true. And there's a lot of cards that are swinging the metagame here and there. And an example, one of my favorites, is the card. I don't know the English name. I know it only in Polish. The 5/5/5 Naga Witch.
The Naga Sea Witch. Yeah.
Oh, actually not that different. Naga Sea Witch that will change the mana cost of your cards to 5, which makes it very hard to use with cards like Execute, Enrage. So it's probably not for Warrior, or
Right.
you know, Innervate makes no sense. But at the same time, it kind of fits in the Druid decks, because you can just play it on turn 5, and then you can follow it up with a Ragnaros on turn 6, or Dr. Boom on turn 6. Basically, it's like an additional Emperor in some certain way of looking at it, right? But at the same time, it doesn't interact with your lower cost cards. What do you think about this card?
What I wonder is, if I have Emperor Thorson and I lower the cost of everything, does everything cost 4 after?
I have no idea. That's very interesting way.
Because
of
if
looking
it
at
actually
things.
works that way, then it could enable some ridiculous turns, right? Or if you just lower the cost of the Sea Witch, you know, on her own by 4, by 1, then she costs 4, and everything in your hand costs 5. If Emperor hit one of those cards, then that card costs 4. So you could go 6 Emperor, and then turn 8, you play her with anything that you want. And that's going to cost you 8 mana, so you can get a crazy swing. I think it works very well with Mind Control. You know, it's one of those cards that you don't think about too much.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
nobody
yeah,
plays
that's
it,
very true.
But you could pull off like a 5/5 on the board, steal something big, all at the same time.
But probably
Whilst enable like Confessor Peltress as well a little earlier.
yeah, but that's like a turn 10 play, right? Because if you play
Right.
it on turn 5, you usually don't want to play Mind Control on turn 6. Well, actually, maybe you do.
I
if you
would
play
do it.
Yeah. I mean,
I probably would.
it's basically a Siphon Soul that steals a creature. Okay, that's good. I would say you can play that. So, it might be very good. I'm really interested, but the way you talked about the interaction with Emperor, right? So if you play, let's assume that it would work this way, but I think it only works when you play Emperor after the effect
That's the
of the
thing,
Witch.
right? Molten Giants. Wait, there was a card that interacted with Emperor in a really weird way. I forget what it was. There was a card that set the mana cost of things at a certain point, and Emperor worked on top of it. Summoning
So that
Portal,
was-
I think.
Okay.
Wasn't it? Summoning Portal reduced the cost down to 1 minimum, and if Emperor was played, it would go down to 0.
Okay.
So maybe the reduction stacks on top of it. And if that's the case, then I mean that could lead to some interesting Naga Sea Witch plays. All I know is that starting on turn 5 with her, you can get, or even turn 4, right? You go turn 4, you coin her out, right? And then on turn 5, you can play anything you want. And on the coin, that effect is brutal.
Yeah, that's true.
I
I mean,
like-
it's one of the cards that I was really interested in playing, and it is released in the third wing, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, it is.
yeah, that's gonna be the next one.
The next one, which will be in 2 weeks, unfortunately, because of the holidays, and it's kind of sad. But yeah.
All right, so we're preparing for the next game, guys. We're going to be casting. It's going to be Twoebiers versus Hachiman. I do not know either of these players, and I doubt you do. you know
No,
them?
sorry, I don't know them at all. I mean, probably I heard somewhere the words like two beers, Hachi and man, but not in the same, sentence.
Twoebiers, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that where you hear it, Lothar?
Yeah,
Is that
probably true. And We'll see what decks are they playing. Maybe they're bringing something crazy. That's what I love about open tournaments. When people are not tryharding, they're bringing some really crazy stuff. Like, you know, that can pull off a crazy night of playing with 5 games, and then you just go, like an example, a resurrect shaman, and it actually works for like 3 times in a row because you have that
For some reason, you
yeah.
get to like to the very end, and then you get show matched again.
Yeah, that one night
nice.
it actually pulls off, and you win 3 games, and you're like, oh man, this deck is so good, but it only worked this day. So it's very interesting to see. Because from my perspective, is some of the players are just playing tournaments not for the for the aspect of winning it, or just even, you know, just having the prize or whatever. They just like the competition to meet other players, not like on ladder, which is kind of torn from the social aspect, right?
There's no social aspect. It's kind of
yes,
like fireside
exactly.
gatherings. Like, people play tournaments very often just to play with other human beings, because right
Exactly.
now you don't really feel like the people you play are humans, unless they add you and they go like, hey dude, you scrub, what is that garbage deck you're playing? Why are you playing Hunter on ladder right now? You tool. And then they just keep raging on. I mean, that's the extent of my social interaction in Hearthstone.
Yeah,
It's pretty
exactly.
sad sometimes.
Yeah, and when you play in tournaments, people are usually, I'm not saying always, but usually they're more friendly, and they actually are chatty, you know? So that's something I really like about
What
it.
have you got in your hand? Oh, I have Earthling Farseer with Immortal Coil. All right, cool. That's pretty nice. I've only got Minibot. Yeah, you can get pretty chatty, right? Like super casual Magic the Gathering style. You just kind of tell each other your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what thing I miss from the usual tournaments that I was playing, like in Magic or in World of Warcraft TCG, is the fact that you can check what was the next card.
Right, you can just draw that. They should have that.
Oh,
option,
god
right?
damn it! I had the X card
Yeah.
next, and no way.
Yeah.
That's
It
something.
was BGH after all, but it's never that.
I would love to
I'd
see
like
it
to see
implemented
that in
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see that in Hearthstone. Maybe it's not that difficult to do. Just like when the game is coming to an end and it's like, you know, someone is blowing off. I mean, someone's hero is blown off, and then you can just check the next card in your deck. Just see it. Oh god damn
Right.
it! There
Or
was
reveal your
the
hand, man. You
Savage
reveal your
Roar.
hand. Like, I want to have the reveal my hand option. Just like show the opponent what I was holding. So if he thinks I top decked him with BGH, just show him that I also had 2 Shadow Word Death, an Entomb, and Mind Control, and a Sylvanas. You know, just so it looks like I actually knew what I was doing. But by the way, we just saw Sacred Trial in Hachiman's deck, which whenever your opponent has 3 minions on the board and plays another one, you destroy that minion, which means if the opponent plays Dr. Boom on a board with already a single minion, then it will kill the 7/7.
Yeah, that's an interesting. And they already patched the problem with Draxus, right? It kills the Draxus now, so it kills
Ah,
you.
thank you. Thank you. It was supposed to, and then I tried it, and it didn't work.
And we know the classes. Twoebiers is playing Paladin, Druid, Warlock, and Hachiman is playing Paladin, Mage, Rogue. Rogue, man. Maybe in
Yeah,
the
Rogue's not a
Santa
class I expect
Raptor?
to see. I have a question. Do you go for Divine Favor right now before the coin is played? Like, this is your best
Yes.
chance at getting a massive hand.
Especially against Druid, because there's also an option on Innervate, and when someone is playing Coin Innervate something big, then your Divine Favor has almost no value at all.
Yeah, well, it looks like right now Hachiman's gonna bank on the fact that Twoebiers wants to play a 4-drop.
Well, he
as
might play
opposed
the
to try to
Ancient of Floor,
coin.
right?
Well, yeah, if it's Repentant, though, you punish yourself quite a bit. But we'll see. Alright, looks like he's opting for something along those lines, just based on this. And
Well,
if he does
well-
draw, though, he's replacing 2 out of the 3 cards he's playing, so Hachiman still gets a very good Divine Favor.
I think he's going for Keeper and Shadow of Naxxramas instead, because that allows him to have more board control in the upcoming turn, and the Shade has to come down as soon as possible, right? No, he's going for the Ancient of Law and drawing 2 cards. As he said, Divine Favor will still have some value here. So he will actually draw 3 cards, right? So that's a good deal.
Twoebiers is also very much off curve for a little bit at least, but the 5/5 is uncontested. Right now, what happens with Hachiman is he kind of wants to negate the 5/5, but at the same time, can you say no to drawing that many cards?
You
right?
have to play that, I guess.
a
I guess
much
you
better
have to.
arcane intellect.
And if you played it 3-3,
What if
it's
you find a
debatable.
one drop, right?
Well,
Oh,
there's
there we go,
secrets,
see?
right?
Why not? It buffs your secret keeper, and you can also keep your board buffed up. Noble Sack is probably a lot better too, because you're either forcing the druid to expend his hero power on the play, although he might do that anyway, just to check for secrets.
He might do that, but then
It's risky.
it's risky, yes. I guess both are fine. It's just a matter of bluffing, of what can you bluff and what your opponent is usually how does he check the secrets, you know? Because if he goes like the most obvious lines, then he will just hero power here, because he wants to be able to kill the secret keeper with the attack of the national lore, but he picks an rev up, so he's able to just snipe the secret keeper, then see if it's
You
avenge.
can use the keeper of the grove if it's avenge, exactly. He can do everything he wants, right? So now he knows what it is. It's not redemption. It's not noble sack.
It's not
avenge.
avenge. So it must be eye for an eye, right?
It's eye for an eye or competitive spirit, but it's probably eye for an eye because nobody plays competitive spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anybody play competitive spirit. It's like, you have eye for an eye or competitive spirit. I think the choice is clear.
Of course. I actually lost one game on the ladder because someone had eye for an eye.
Get wrecked, mate. Ooh,
Yeah.
the redemption here is actually surprisingly effective. Truesilver champion with redemption does quite a bit of work.
Yeah. But he goes for the noble sack. Wow. He always plays different secrets than we would. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he knows what he's doing because he's got a game plan. The thing is, I feel like Twoebiers is also reading into that because he diffused the competitive spirit very nicely last turn, as well as he could have. And now he's going to get reduction on everything, including a force of nature, which means on turn 7, he can play the Shredder, he can play the Keeper together, and that's going to give him a crazy turn. He can play Dr. Boom as well with the Aspirant. He's going to have a pretty good array of options, and now Hachiman has to deal with the Emperor Thorson.
And how we deal with that? We can only play a Peacekeeper, and that's enough. So it's an easy clear for Hachiman, and this is something I really loved. I really love in Paladins, and we see recurrence of Peacekeepers in Secret Paladins, right? Because the tempo swing is just so huge, but the card was not being played in aggro Paladins because it was just too clunky, right? You needed cards.
Yeah, but the tempo value is way too big to deny. I think nowadays people are finally recognizing that this card on its own, even if you play it on turn 3, it's fine. If you can make a Knife Juggler a 1-2, it's fine, right? There's a lot of things it does that looks like it's not a lot of work. Like you're not denying, you know, a 9 attack minion, but you're still doing a lot of things with it. Huh, alright, so Redemption and
no, there's still a Sacred Trial there, right? So Twoebiers probably just assumes it is Sacred Trial because it's a new secret, and if nothing else works, then probably it's the new secret.
Well, he might be thinking to himself, I have no idea what this is. I didn't check for eye for an eye yet. But there's no way he assumes that's the case, because now if he plays Dr. Boom, he actually loses a 7-7. So he's got to be very cautious about this. Alright, he's going to opt for the, let me not play around that. But he's going to lose the Keeper of the Grove if he opts for the minion, but I think he knows it's the secret, just based on this. Does not want to play a 4th minion into this. Look at how much zoning is being done by that secret.
That's true.
So now really look at it that way.
That's a very, very cool thing. Wow, he's going with Knife Juggler into low tap instead of Dr. Boom, so he's worried about comboing because he doesn't want to trade, basically. At least that's what I'm assuming is happening. He just wants to deal damage to the face, and he's not even trading for the Darkness's Aspirant. No, he does. That's very interesting.
So if he's playing around swipe, then he's not gonna pop everything. But he is not playing around swipe, and he is popping everything.
Well, he's playing around swipe with the low tip, right?
Right, definitely. So, like, by killing the Aspired and playing Lothab, he's playing around Swipe by default. Another question is whether or not he's going to be able to get the win based on this. So, you know your opponent can't play Swipe, can't play Force of Nature, can't play... Well, they could play Savage Roar, but it won't matter. So, you're afraid of what?
I don't think there's anything you're afraid of.
Yeah.
And you have
The Grove
5,
into
7, 8,
Pawn.
9, 12, 15 damage next turn. So still no lethal unless you will get a Blessing of Kings and your opponent, or Truesilver champion, and your opponent is not clearing any creatures at all. That's most likely not
Right.
possible, but at least you will be sure that the opponent is trading with your minions. So that means you're still in charge.
Oof, that's going to be a little rough for Hachiman here. If he's trying to get some damage in, that Armor Smith is going to stop him if he opts for trades from here on out. I don't think at this point you want to trade at all if you're Hachiman, but now the question is, combo, do I care about it anymore or not? Do I play scared? Do I not? Do I kill the Armor Smith and then trade the 3-1 and the 1-1? But it would be very consistent with his defensive take on the game so far.
And this is something that we were talking about it earlier, right? When to switch the tempo of the game, when to switch basically the gear from, gear 1 to gear 3 and just start dealing damage. And I feel like that option should have been done some time ago already.
So just attacking face and forcing the druid to really play from behind.
Yes, exactly. Because
he's
otherwise,
got card advantage anyway.
Yes, he has card advantage, and you can try to kill him before he goes to 9 mana, right?
Yeah, sure. Wow, so Twoebiers does not have the BGH, but he's like, yeah, I don't really mind. I can deal with this. He's gonna be able to kill the Lothab. He's gonna be able to kill the Dr. Boom. He leaves only 1/1s on the board. He knows this is not competitive spirit.
And
so I think he's feeling quite safe. But imagine a top deck from Hachiman. Imagine.
A Tyrion.
Yeah, crazy Tyrion top deck would be insane here.
Double mini boss. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Still pretty good. But now, Twoebiers actually set up a board where he's able to play Dr. Boom. Because there's nothing else. So Sacred Trial will simply not work.
And
That's
this is
been a
why
really
I
big
dislike
issue for him,
Sacred
right?
Trial. The Sacred Trial is a card that is not doing anything from turn 1, and it's turn 10 for Hachiman. It will be turn 10 for Hachiman next, after the Dr. Boom will be played. And there was only one situation when he could have played Twoebiers into that. Because there were 3 minions on board, right? And maybe Twoebiers would actually play something on board first before trading. And get the value.
I think the reason why you play Sacred Trial is because Dr. Boom. So you're making their later turns a lot clunkier.
What about the new zoo? It has a lot of minions, right?
Sure, why not?
But then you kill a 1/1. Woo!
Well, you kill a 5/5, right?
Well, I think that most people will just play around it quite well, actually, right? In most situations.
Yeah. I think the secret is still a big unknown. Like, people would like to try to play around it, but sometimes in that deck, it might be difficult. There's going to be situations where it's going to be tough, unless you play, like, a creeper into it. Sacred Trial is still a card that I... Like, the idea of it is really awesome, but the practical effects that it has, like, I'm not overly impressed with.
This is the time
We'll
when
see
you
where the
have...
secret goes.
This is the time when you have just to ignore the minions and deal 6 damage to the face. Play Masterful Battle, deal additional 1, and just stop caring about the stuff being played on board. Because you as Paladin, you don't have damage output, silly goose. You just have to deal damage with that board that you have already. So yeah,
He's playing around combo. Obviously, like, he's been playing around combo all game long, right? So he's obviously worried about that.
yeah, but the damage is just like so small.
He does get 5, but it could have killed a minion that he wanted to keep. Like 1 extra damage lost. But right now, Twoebiers without a swipe is a bit... Yeah, it's a really clunky... He could use Force of Nature again if he wants to.
I think that's
up
correct
the board.
choice.
Right, because there's no cards left in the Paladin's hand, so all that's on board is all the stuff you're going to be dealing with. So if you go here, for instance, for Aspirant into Force of Nature...
Into Hero Power. That
exactly,
clears...
you can clean up a lot of things.
Yeah, you can clear both mini-bots and a 1 dude. And then you go 7 damage to the face, you're at 7. Or you just clear 3 dudes. Sorry, 1 mini-bot and... Yeah, 1 mini-bot and 3 dudes. Basically, that's what you clear. So your opponent is left with 4 damage next turn, and you deal 7 damage to the face. Yeah, that's fine. I feel that's fine.
Yep, that's exactly what he's going for here. He recognizes, unless Hachiman top decks me like a god, then there's no way I lose this. And this is kind of a perfect example of when maybe to be more aggressive with your hand. And Hachiman has been very defensive all game long. And you see here he's only got 4 damage. Blessing of Kings doesn't do it. He needs to find like Quartermaster. He's able to find more damage still because Twoebiers still doesn't have lethal. But it's very close to happening.
1 Savage Roar is 6 damage right now, so that's 15. So single Savage Roar is not closing the game. Hachiman picks up a Leper Gnome, which basically deals 2 damage. And that's it. It's like an Arcane shot to the face. And it acts also defensively, because your opponent will practically ignore it if he can set up a 2 turns lethal, or kill it instantly if he can't set up a lethal for next turn.
But now Hachiman has to decide whether he wants to make trades. If he makes trades, he's never winning this game ever again. There is literally no point where he can win if he starts trading with this 2-3 Aspirant. Sure, he thinks and maybe I'm playing around double Savage Roar, but if I... Oh my god. Alright, Hachiman here is going to bank on... He's banking everything on a lack of swipe and on a lack... Like, on his ability to top deck a follow-up. Because this is it. This is all he's ever getting.
This is the one
He needs to find something.
And what he can get, that's Savage Roar, but 1 Savage Roar.
Kings. It has to be Kings.
Kings or Truesilver champion?
Yeah, he's got 2 outs, and...
No, wait, it's
I mean,
not
in
enough.
worst case, if Twoebiers even hero powers with Innervate, which he will...
Yeah, Twoebiers has to use the Innervate to hero power this turn to just get his health just above, with one above. And maybe just kill the 1-1.
Maybe you kill minions with this, right? Might as well. You Innervate hero power, kill the
1-1, that's
2/1
okay,
ones.
because you have lethal next turn anyway. And you play around Quartermaster. If that's a card in Hachiman's deck.
Yeah. So Dr. Boom kills a 1/1 just to prevent a King's lethal. So Innervate hero power, go face, attack a 1/1 with Dr. Boom, prevent a King's lethal. Is that ever a thing? I mean, it's very safe because you have Savage Roar anyway, right?
Yeah, that might be actually
It
true.
surely feels safe.
Yeah, correct. Correct, and Mr. Challenger is way too late, and it feels like a... Is it too late? Wait, because there's 1 Noble Sacrifice still, right? But there's
a Noble Sac
Savage Roar.
left.
And there's Savage Roar, so that's definitely not enough. That's
Yeah.
more than enough for Twoebiers.
Eye for an eye, ladies and gentlemen, let's see it.
Oh my god,
Let's
if that's the
see
case...
the eye for an eye. Oh yeah, this is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Well, he's playing Sacred Trial.
Right, that's exactly my point. All I want to see right now is an eye for an eye. I want to see this game be decided on that secret.
But man, like, if Hachiman doesn't win this game, and it looks like so, he can only fault himself. Because
Sure, the thing is, it takes a lot of practice to learn that a game is won or lost in a position like this. I think some of the best players recognize it very fast, that they have to go offensive because they've got all the practice in the world. But I'd say that not everybody does. Oh my god, if he doesn't heal himself, an eye for an eye is there.
But he only damages him for 2. Oh wait, what I'm talking about? Never mind.
No, man. If he doesn't heal himself,
let's see if it's playing
eye
around.
for an eye. Yeah, if it's Redemption though, you don't have to play because you know it's Sacred Trial. Oh, never mind. There is no eye for an eye, so you don't even have to heal yourself. You may now freely go face and kiss the bride. Goodbye. Hachiman goes down, and Twoebiers is able to get himself a win, unexpected win. I'll be honest with you.
Yes, unexpected because it had been perceived by us like a really good game for a paladin, and he showed me able to take it. But it looked like a grind, and it looked like a more arena-based game than a constructed deck, you know, because there was so much trading that you usually see in arena games, because that's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, unless, I mean, until someone is left with a Yeti on board with an Ogre, and it's like, ah, I just won. And it felt like in this situation that this is a very similar situation.
Right, right. It was very tempo, like people, like Hachiman was trying to get tempo up until the end. He wasn't trying to get lethal, he was trying to get tempo up until the very end. I want the board and you're not going to stay on it, and that's all he was attempting to do. And I feel like, even though that's correct for a good portion of the game, right? For the beginning of the game, maybe the middle of the game, that's very appropriate, but when you start being 5 cards behind, and your opponent's dropping the big bombs after the other, one after the other, and you're trading away 4 to 5 damage every turn just to keep the board clean, even though it's consistent with your earlier turn and your game plan, it's still not winning you the game ever. So it'll take a lot more practice, maybe to reach a point where he's comfortable being offensive when he has to. But I really think eventually everyone gets there.
Yep, that's true. It takes practice. It takes practice. That's for sure. And
Mill Rogue, we saw Bran Bronzebeard. No, we didn't, but it's gonna be there with the Mill Rogue, Death Lord. Is that Death Lord?
I would love to see it. I was playing Milrogue a lot on my stream lately, and it's so difficult to play this deck. It's really so.
I think it's better than it's ever been, though.
With the Bran?
Yeah, it looks like nothing, but that card really changes a lot. You get anti-heal bot. It looks boring, right? But it's a crazy play.
It is, but and it just another way of lethaling with just single Cold Light Oracle. But what the deck needs, in my opinion, is another card like the Cold Light Oracle.
What the deck needs is a Beneath the Grounds that's better than Beneath the Grounds.
Sure.
They need maybe a card that costs 3 mana, and you put it at the top of your opponent's deck, and it doesn't do anything. Like literally, a card that does something like that, right? Like Beneath the Grounds that doesn't cycle.
But that is kind of counterproductive to what milling wants to achieve, right?
Sure, that's the issue, right? Is you can't deny them the draw. Maybe Battlecry, your opponent draws 3 cards next turn. That's good. I like that. Force them to draw more cards.
The other problem is that Beneath the Ground should have been triggered when it's being burned. Playable card.
Yeah, I know. It should have been whenever this card shows up at all. But as it is right now, you can't really get it to work consistently. It's a fun card to play, but it's unfortunately not viable. And even though Gang Up looks like it should be the saving grace of this deck, it still doesn't work as well as you'd like. So in this position, do you ever just sap the Drake?
Sap Eviscerate Drake. No, that doesn't work.
Sap Eviscerate Face, right? Or what if you fall, like, is that a forbidden APM technique? Like you can sap a minion to trigger the combo, and if you're fast enough, you get to kill it.
Koreans are taking over instantly.
Yeah,
but
forbidden APM technique, the sap Eviscerate.
I think you just ignore the minion.
All right.
I mean,
so you'll
it
kill
doesn't
Fan of
interfere.
Knives.
But you know there's a coin.
Right. That's the point. You want them to draw, right?
Okay, but yeah, you're right. He might be playing.
I mean,
so
I guess not. I guess not. But it's just a funny consideration.
it might still be Melrogue. You're right.
It is Milrogue. No, it is Milrogue. I'm telling you, 99%.
Okay, let's see. It can still be with the agent. It's a card that you can find.
You don't seem convinced, Lothar.
I mean, I love the deck, really. Okay, if that will be Gang Up.
There's a Shadow Stab, Lothar. What else?
Oh yeah, right. There's a Shadow. Wait.
what else could it be, Lothar?
There's a Shadow Stab.
It has to be Mill.
Maybe it's a tech card for. It's like a toolbox, you know? Toolbox for the big game hunters. Toolbox for the agents.
You just copy Healbot like 3 times.
No, man. It works with Agent and Bran. It deals 4 damage. No.
Oh my, Monk did. I was spectating Monk yesterday and he did that. I was actually
Really?
really sad. Yeah, because I was like, oh come on, man. And he says,
better
oh
than
crap,
this.
it's not a battle cry. It was a funny moment, but hopefully one that we never see repeat from Monk. It was a little saddening.
Wait, why is he not going for Agent?
I think his intent here is to get a Fan of Knives SI next turn somewhere, and if this doesn't die to the 3/2, then he's able to use the Fan of Knives to kill it. So he's expecting Twoebiers to use the 3/2 anyway to kill the Drake, which will take tempo off of him.
But
That's very theoretical.
Yes, but the problem is he used a lot of resources just to play Prep Eviscerate on a Pulse Shredder, which left his opponent with... Basically what the Prep Eviscerate did was make your opponent's minion -1/-1. For 2 cards.
Oh, that's
it allows-
depressing, Lothar. That is depressing.
And then you are sure that your opponent is able to clear because he can just use the minion and the hero power and still develop the board with a 4-drop because he has the
Right.
coin.
Right, and now you're in the exact same spot you were last turn, which is I have to kill something on the board and expend resources. Lucky for him, though, he's got the ability to do that on curve, right? If he wants to play the SI. Ah, that's a convenient card. But at this point, you might as well just attack and redagger, right? Or do you play the Deathlord and redagger next turn? Yeah, I like that. That's fine.
So he's playing Mill.
Yeah, he is playing Mill. He has to be. There is no way he's not. And Twoebiers is playing into his game. The thing is, right now, Hachiman is very far from milling his opponent at all.
Do you remember the mulligan from Hachiman?
Yes, there was no Cold Light, and I think it was a clunky hand like Deathlord with a Shadow Step and some other garbage. And he ended up getting Backstab, Drake, and something else. Okay, maybe it's not Mill? Well, no, it's gotta be Mill.
But why would you play Gnomish Inventor?
In Mill? You're asking questions, Lothar.
Because you just played 2 Drakes instead. Because it's better with your cards with the cards you have in your deck.
Bran Bronzebeard, Defender of Argus, but the Defender doesn't make sense here. What else? I don't know what else. Yeah, I'm at a loss actually for what's going on here. I feel like it's Mill, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, we have to see more cards to be certain.
Yeah, we
what's
have to see a lot
happening
more
right
cards to figure out exactly what this is. But right now, Hachiman, if he doesn't pick up a Vanish, this is not gonna look good.
now. Vanish! Nope.
Well,
It's a
Sap
small
does
force
stall.
of Vanish.
Yeah, it's a mini Vanish. He can sap SI7 if he wants to, but again, that's not really what you want to do. You might want to consider Shadow Stepping the Gnomish to find something useful. Like if you sap and you SI7 the 5/2, then you can Shadow Step the Gnomish to find something you like.
That's a very difficult decision to make when you have no idea what's happening in this deck. I was really surprised by the fact that he didn't use weapon double deadly poison to kill the Ancient of Lore next.
The 5/5.
Yeah.
Right. I assumed he would make that play as well, but apparently he may not be thinking the Blade Furies are going to be enough, but 1 mana off lethal here for Twoebiers, I believe.
Moms are going for 1 now. So, Wildgrove. I guess you just replay Dr. Boom, right? Next turn you have combo.
Yeah, why not? I mean, the only thing you'd be worried about if you're Twoebiers here is that this is some kind of oil rogue, but after you see the Deathlord, I think you're starting to wonder whether that could even be oil. The only thing that could kill you from oil is something nuts like deadly double tinkers.
Well,
And then they
from
prep
when
something crazy from the top.
When you have 5, you would have to redagger. That's 2. He used 1 prep. He will have 5 cards. So prep, Blade Flurry. Those are 2. Innervate. God. Prep, and that's 3 cards. Prep, Deadly Poison. Sorry, prep.
Oh,
Tinkers.
yeah.
Blade Flurry, that's 3.
That's 3, yeah.
And that's 6, 9, 10, 11, 11 damage, 14, 16 damage. Still not enough.
Yeah, you'd absolutely have to get...
From
even
3
with the
cards.
nuts. Yeah.
And then he used one Eviscerate already. So...
Yeah, Cold Bloods have to...
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
That's a very clutch top deck for Hachiman here.
3, 6, 7 cards in Twoebiers' hand. So the Shade will go first to the hand, then Dr. Boom will go to the hand, and then one of the bombs and the other bomb will get destroyed. So it will
could be
actually
lethal.
go off. So it can go off
could
for
be
4
lethal.
damage. Yes.
There's a chance that Hachiman can't live. If the Boombot hits for 4, that's it.
And it goes for free. Almost.
1 off lethal. So right now, Hachiman is able to get a board, sort of, and he may be able to win if he can get that heal bot with something like a Brand Bronzebeard.
Yeah. One thing that I like to play in the mill rogue is Doomsayer in those situations. You play Vanish
Yeah.
and then play Doomsayer, and it's like, oh, I
I
guess
actually
you can
had 2
play anything.
Doomsayers in my Mill Rogue back in the... Like when Gang Up came up, I had double Doomsayer because I thought there's no way I'm going to live through the early game if I don't get my plays, and if I don't pull off some kind of crazy vet. Oh my goodness. The problem right now is that if he goes for that play,
He dies.
he still dies. So maybe he just has to heal bot, Shadow Step. Heal bot? No, you're still dead. You're still pretty dead. Yeah,
So what are you going for?
that's guaranteed death no matter how I look at this, right?
Yeah,
Wait,
unfortunately.
is there a way for him to have lethal? Dagger, deadly, deadly. That's 5. No, still not. Well, Shadow Step into a lethal.
Oh! He's dying.
Yep, that's game.
2 bombs are going off right now. 4 and 3. That's
Oh, wow.
7. That's 11 damage from bombs.
So Dr. Boom was replayed, what, 4 times? And every single time the Boombot still did what they had to. And Hachiman will go down. Twoebiers is going to be going up 2-0 against this. With his Druid, Hachiman is not able to pilot the deck to a win. The lack of Cold Light Oracles really makes this deck absolutely unplayable. And that's one of the things that really, that I find sad about the deck.
Yeah,
It's so fun, but it's so gimmicky.
This is why I'm asking for one more card like Call That Oracle. Something along the lines, you know, like a Grove Tender for Druid. Something like that, but for Rogue.
Right.
Like a class card for Rogue.
What if it just made your opponent draw though, right? Like 2 mana, or like 4 mana, Battle Cry. Your opponent draws 3 cards next turn. Or do you need to draw at the same time as they do?
But then with that kind of downside, that had to be like a huge minion, right? As an example, if you play a 3 minion that makes your opponent draw 3 cards, has to be like a 5 fight, right? Or 6.
A 3 mana, let's say a 3 mana 4/5.
Then it's unplayable in every single deck apart from Mill Rogue.
Right, well that's the point. It's that's the goal of it, right? Or any mill deck, really. That's the intent.
Do you want to make it so obvious? This is a mill card, so you can...
yeah, sure, why not? It's like Dancing Swords level. Alright, so we'll see what's gonna happen here. Twoebiers has the ramp in his starting hand. Hachiman is playing a...
and
I
again,
want to say Freeze Mage, but no, it's not.
I have to ask the question. Why would you not pick up a deck that is similar to Tempo Mage, from what I see, against a Druid instead of the Mill Rogue? Because Mill Rogue is great against control decks and aggros, and not against midrange. At least in my perspective, in my eyes.
Right. Well, it's a tricky spot because I don't know what Hachiman's deck is. I want to say it's Tempo, but then I see the Eyes block. Yeah, it's not that. It's Control Mage all the way. The Ethereal Conjurer is not a card you've seen probably ever in a tournament setting, but this is probably the first time I'll see it. I've played with it quite a bit, Lothar, and I have to say one thing. Control Mage has a very good use for it, even though it looks laughable. I think this card is going to become playable at some point. If I'm in a 6/3 that draws from outside your deck, gives you a spell that's, you know, it's guaranteed to be a mage spell.
But
so
isn't just better to
have
play
a lot of
Azure
AoE.
Drakes?
Sure, why not? You can play that. But I don't know if you play like Reno Jackson in that deck though.
Oh, okay. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I'm not sure again what Hachiman is running specifically, but this is the type of shell that I absolutely envision a Reno Jackson in. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
And the 6-3 also kills a Lotheb, right? Drake doesn't.
But it gives spell power.
Yeah.
No. Well, we'll see how it goes. Right now, Hachiman is opting to choose the Ice Block. Which is
Maybe he's just playing one of each secret, because it's Reno Jackson. You know, you play like 8 secrets, all different. The ultimate Highlander.
Now let's...
You have to play the Aspirant if it's mirror entity, right? So you have to start with that.
Exactly. You can't go into Innervate Ancient of Law. So he wants to check first for duplicate, right?
He wants to guarantee mirror entity as much as possible. Oh.
Oh my god.
Okay. So he's got 2 ice blocks, 1 duplicate.
That's very interesting.
From what I gather.
Or just 1 mad scientist and 2 secrets.
That's also totally possible. Oh my god! What am I looking at? This is amazing. I love this.
Oh, and the Wolfguard! Oh!
Nice flame cannon though. In many cases it would have done a lot of work. In this case it doesn't really matter too much, but it does force the opponent to burn and innervate if he wants to get this Ancient of Lore. Wrathguard.
But it's still
There's a card I didn't expect to see.
For Hachiman, because the board is quite huge. Basically 2 4/4s next turn. And he doesn't have mana enough for Flame Strike. He doesn't even have Flame Strike, so what I'm talking about. I'm really interested why did he play the Ice Block? No, wait, that makes no sense. Why would you duplicate Mad Scientist when you have only one?
No, the duplication on that 2/2 made no sense. But the thing is, I think whatever play he made was going to hurt. It was just going to be bad. But he opted for the one that at least set up some kind of protection. The thing is, you could have lost the Scientist and gotten the extra Ice Block anyway. So you simply ping pass.
Oh,
now he gets the option to play the Conjurer if he wants, or go for the Shredder, which has and offers a lot more durability on the board. Conjurer's got to be tempting though, because what if you can pick up another AoE on top of the Blizzard?
Yes. Duplicate spell. Oh my god. This is horrible.
Doesn't get any worse.
This is horrible because you're not playing as the Kirin Tor mages. Okay, I laughed at my own
You gotta
joke.
take Effigy, right?
Now.
You gotta take Effigy.
Yes, you have to. And the problem is, until turn 9, you can't really play it. Or turn 7. Oh god. So Spellbender might be tempting if your opponent plays cards like Mark of the Wild, or is playing Priest, but that's not the case. And he took duplicate, sorry. So that's very interesting. He already has 1 duplicate.
Wolfram shields. All I want to see is Wolfram shield.
But both are horrible without taunts, and it seems like he's not playing taunts.
But it's amazing with duplicate. Because you have so many wolves on the board.
Which one takes damage? The first one played, right?
Oh my god, it's the Giant's Mage. That explains everything.
That explains why he took the duplicate too. But that's like a very different version from what you usually see. And I'm very interested why he's pinging the bomb first before playing... Okay, that makes sense, because you don't want the Big Game Hunter to be duplicated.
No, I like Hachiman's play here. Hachiman's play, now that we know that it's Giant's Mage, because I looked at the initial cards that we saw, right? Ice Block, Duplicate, and Scientist. I'm like, this looks like Giant's Mage. But we saw Flame Cannon, and we saw Powdered Shredder. At which point I was like, well, there's no way that's gotta be Giant's Mage. And then I see that he's playing the Ethereal Conjurer. I'm like, okay, this is maybe a control variant, Reno Jackson style. But right now, I feel like his deck is a mix of everything. It looks like Grinder Mage to me, with a very unique twist. A very unique Grinder Mage.
What we have to tell about Hachiman is that he has huge male parts because he brought Miller Rogue and Echo Mage into an open tournament.
Yeah, male parts, right. Pretty big male parts.
Male parts.
Indeed. So, if you go for Giant, Shredder, Duplicate, you still don't live. If you Blizzard, the best you can do is play Giant afterwards, and that might be your only out. Or you go Giant Duplicate, and hope you top deck something good. But I don't think there's a way that Hachiman will address this, unless he's afraid of a double Fireball follow-up.
It's actually a huge amount of damage.
Kind of unfortunate here for Twoebiers. I mean for Hachiman, because he doesn't get to duplicate this guy.
Yeah, that's true. And Twoebiers knows this is not duplicate, of course. So the Big Game Hunter seems to be the best option here. Double Innervate. Does he want to play that? Probably not.
That would be good in another universe. Right now, this doesn't do anything. If you play your own Shredder, nah. Nexus Champion also doesn't solve your problems. The Sheep doesn't solve your problems. Nexus Champion, Duplicate, what Shredder doesn't. Doctor Boom on its own doesn't. Yeah, there's nothing that gets him out of this one.
That's true.
The Ice Block has to work. Like, the Ice Block has to work into a crazy follow-up. Maybe Hachiman is able to find the other Ice Block after an Arcane Intellect and something very clutch. Imagine a world in which the two Boom bots hit face for Twoebiers for, 8 damage total, and Hachiman uses Arcane Intellect, finds the Ice Block in a Pyroblast, and then he wins.
That's very optimistic.
Right, but at this point I don't think there's anything else than optimism.
Yep, that's true. Do you even play Pyroblast in Giant's Mage?
No, that's but I don't understand that. Like, his list is all over the place. It's not something I've seen is what I mean. Like, I just don't know exactly what it's trying to accomplish, and if he's got a game plan that's not including Pyroblast, and I don't see him getting out of this one. If this board stays alive though somehow. No, it's not.
Doesn't.
Face for 8. Top deck Pyro.
Still not enough mana?
Yeah, this did nothing. So, is there a 2-mana spell that gets you out of this one now? If you've got the Nexus Champion, Nexus Champion, Ping the Shade, so. Get Healing Wave, Holy Light. Still doesn't help. And Lightning Storm. Would have been great if it had been in hand initially. Now it's too little too late. And look at this damage output from Twoebiers. He can play anything he wants, basically.
Yeah. Well, he can just use hero power. And that's it. And Twoebiers takes the match 3-0 against Hachiman. It's kind of unfortunate. I wanted to see someone playing Middle Rogue more than just one game. But maybe next time.
Yeah, I really like the decks that Hachiman brought, though. Like, we were talking about the fact that sometimes in open qualifiers, you got people bringing all sorts of cool decks that you usually don't see. And that's pretty much exactly it, right? Like, we saw really nice decks from Hachiman. Unfortunately, they didn't pan out at all in the matchups that he had. Doesn't mean they, couldn't work at all against other people, but against Twoebiers, who seem to be very on meta, those decks didn't work.
That's true. Too bad for him, but I guess another tournament and another chance to play those decks. I'll just go back to ladder and maybe tweak them a little. We'll see how it goes, right, for him. And hopefully we'll see Hachiman in different tournaments, or maybe, I'm not sure where he is based. Maybe he's allowed to play in the UK qualifier too, because as we had in the beginning of the broadcast, there are 2 qualifiers. Basically, we have the international qualifier, which is now, today, that's what we are casting. Then we have UK online qualifier, and we have 6 LAN qualifiers, which are being played one day before the event, on site on Insomnia lands. Let's say like this. But for now,
It'll
we're
be
going
later
to
in
first-
December for sure.
Yes, and for now we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back with another match. So don't go anywhere, guys. This is Truesilver Qualifies.